Okay, we're at video 19E. We're just going to do a quick example. In this one, Professor Coop bowled a men's league last year on a team. He told his team captain he was a 200 average bowler. And after a 96-game season, we would like to figure out, do we have statistical evidence that he might have been inflating his abilities to sound good to his captain? So let's check out the data that we have from those games and see what we can find. So you have the summarized data, and we're going to calculate a 99% confidence interval for Professor Coop's true mean bowling score, assuming that last season was an unbiased representation of his abilities. We'll also assume that all the conditions for constructing a confidence interval for a mean are met. So first thing, I look at this, I'm supposed to calculate a confidence interval, and this is for a mean bowling score. So this is a confidence interval for a mean. We've done confidence intervals for proportions, now we're looking at confidence intervals for means. And so you know, since we're doing that we're going to end up using a critical t-score in our confidence interval. Just some things from your summarized statistics. We have our sample size, we have the sample mean. His average bowling score for those 96 games was about 188. And we have his standard deviation for those 98 games. We have some other statistics here, but I don't think we'll need those for our confidence interval. So your formula for a confidence interval. We take that sample mean plus and minus the margin of error. The margin of error has a critical t-score, and then our sample standard deviation divided by the square root of n. So most of this we have. We have his average was 188.052. A little bit of work you have to do is to get that critical t-score. I'll fill that in a second. And the standard deviation and the sample size we have. Make sure here you're using the full sample size. Remember, when we get this critical t, this involves degrees of freedom where we subtract 1 from the sample size, but this is the full sample size here. Okay, that critical t-score. A video or so ago, we looked at StatCrunch on how to find these, so go back to StatCrunch, go to your, under your calculators, go to the t calculator, and we want to find this critical t-score. So from StatCrunch, that t-score, keeping in mind that the degrees of freedom is 95, you should get 2.629. Pause the video, make sure you can get that. Think about what the area should be under the t-curve if you're computing a 99% confidence interval. All right, so we'll fill that in. If you compute just the margin of error part here, the margin of error ends up being 8.154. And now we'll take his average, subtract the margin of error, take his average, add the margin of error. And when you do, here's our confidence interval. 179.896 up to 196.204. And so we're 99% confident that this interval here contains Professor Coop's true average bowling score. True average bowling score. So look at that interval. Think about the question at the beginning. He made the comment to his team captain, I'm a 200 average bowler, yet we have this 99% confidence interval. We're 99% confident that this interval here contains his true average, and you'll notice where the number 200 is. So I think we're going to get to that with part B. So make sure you can construct a confidence interval for a mean. Make sure you can get that critical t. If you can't, you want to go back and make sure you can still find that. All right, part B, comment on Professor Koop's claim. What do we have evidence of? So his claim was that he was a 200 average bowler. I'll leave that confidence interval there. I'd say with 99% confidence here, we're pretty sure that that was a big fib, right? Not true. His entire confidence interval here is under 200. So he was sort of inflating his bowling scores there to the team captain at the beginning. So with 99% confidence, we're convinced he's not a 200 average bowler. This entire interval is actually below 200. So, inflated his abilities there, lied to the captain, not true. We have statistical evidence to prove that. And so that's really it for this video. Just a quick one on Professor Koop's bowling scores. You can tease him in class about his bowling scores now. That's it for this one. Thanks.